The Chicago Bears are finally getting a break from hitting each other, and honestly, it couldn't come at a better time. Training camp has been rolling, tempers are starting to flare, and now comes that crucial stretch that often tells you more than any preseason game: joint practices. This Friday, the Bears welcome the Miami Dolphins for a joint session ahead of their preseason opener on Sunday. And let me tell you, this is where things get real, because unlike a friendly scrimmage or a padded walkthrough, these joint practices are intense, competitive, and borderline personal. And there are 10 players I'll be keeping a very close eye on during this first real test against an outside opponent. Let's start with the obvious one. Caleb Williams. Look, everyone wants to see him light it up on Sundays, but these joint practices, they might matter even more than the actual preseason games. The tempo is high, the playbooks open up just enough, and the competition is fierce without the limitations of a traditional camp setting. This is where we see how quickly Caleb is processing the offense, how comfortable he is running the show, and whether he can handle a defense that's not wearing navy and orange. And yes, all eyes are going to be on whether he can outperform Tua Tagovailoa in drills or situational work. It's not a game, but trust me, these things get real competitive. You don't want to come out of a joint practice looking like you got embarrassed. But it's not just about the new franchise quarterback. There's a legit battle brewing in the backfield, and Kyle Monaghan is starting to make a name for himself. This rookie's been rising fast, and when your offensive coordinator is publicly saying he's someone the team expects to count on in the fall, that's not just fluff. That's intention. Monaghan runs angry. He's got that compact physical style that punishes defenders, and in a joint practice where there's actual contact, that's where you can shine. Don't be surprised if he makes a statement against a Miami front that, let's be honest, hasn't exactly been dominant in recent years. There's a real competition here behind DeAndre Swift. Roschon Johnson better be watching his back, because Kyle is closing the gap fast. Another offensive name to circle? Rome Odunze. Year 2 wideout, clearly in Ben Johnson's circle, of trust, and someone who's been making highlight catches all throughout camp. He's already mossed Kyler Gordon in the red zone during FanFest with a ridiculous corner grab. And now it's time to take that momentum and torch some Dolphins corners who, frankly, aren't all that impressive. They traded away Jalen Ramsey, and what's left isn't exactly a murderer's row. If Rome can dominate that group, it'll be hard to keep the ball out of his hands this year. He's got the tools, he's got the confidence, and now he's got a real opportunity to show out against an opponent that won't be expecting him to go off. And speaking of young guys with something to prove, let's talk about the two rookies who've been surging lately, Colston Loveland and Luther Burden III. Colston has been on the radar since the beginning of camp, and Luther? He's been playing catch-up after missing the first few practices, but once he got on the field, he started stacking plays quickly. The tight end room is less crowded than the receiver group, which gives Loveland a clearer path to snaps if he keeps producing. But even with DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Tyler Scott ahead of him, Burden's raw playmaking ability is hard to ignore. These joint practices are going to be huge for both. It's easy to flash in one-on-one drills or against a familiar scout team, but if they start embarrassing Miami's backups or even their starters, then coaches can't ignore that. Because at some point, you've got to put playmakers on the field no matter how crowded the depth chart is. Now one guy who might not be flashy, but is incredibly important, Azzi Trapillo, left tackle. There's been a quiet but clear shift at that position, and all signs point to Azzi pulling ahead of Braxton Jones for that starting spot. But that's still a fluid situation. Trapillo has looked good in camp, but going against the same pass rushers every day can create a false sense of security. That's why this week is so crucial. Facing a totally different defense with new techniques and different timing. This is how we learn what he's really about. If he keeps Caleb clean and handles Miami's edge rushers with poise, you might just see that left tackle competition disappear real quick. Switching over to defense, let's get into it with Odayo Odeyingbo. He's had an up and down start to camp, but the arrow's pointing up after a few strong days, including beating Trapillo clean during FanFest and forcing Caleb to move off his spot early. Dio isn't expected to be a Pro Bowler overnight, But the Bears need him to be a consistent force opposite Montez Sweat. Because behind him, the depth is thin. Austin Booker's quiet, Dominique Robinson's even quieter, and Daniel Hardy's yet to make a splash. This is a huge stretch for Dio to prove he can win one-on-ones and be a reliable part of the rotation. Or better yet, a clear-cut starter who deserves that role. Another name that's been surprisingly strong? Not Sean Wright. The cornerback came in with a lot of question marks after failing to live up to expectations in Dallas and bouncing around a bit. But suddenly he's getting reps with the first-team defense alongside Tyreek Stevenson. And it's not just filler reps while Jalen Johnson rests. This is looking more and more like a real battle for that CB2 spot. And what better test than Miami's speed demons, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. If Wright can hang with those guys, press them at the line, and not get burned deep, then you start to believe this isn't just a camp fluke. This is a real late bloomer arc, or maybe Chicago just found a diamond in the rough. Now let's talk. Linebackers, specifically rookie Ruben Hippolyte. He's been getting more buzz as camp progresses, and while he's clearly behind TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, there's still value in being the third linebacker in this rotation. The Bears run nickel most of the time, but when they go base, or if someone gets banged up, you need a third guy you can trust. And Hippolyta's instincts and range have shown flashes. This week's going to be a perfect opportunity for him to show he can read and react at full speed against a fast-paced Dolphins offense. If he shines, he could lock up that LB3 spot, or at the very least make it tough for the front office not to keep him around when cutdowns hit. Back to the edge, Austin Booker is another guy who needs to remind everyone why he had so much hype last preseason. He flashed then, sure, but once the real game started, he disappeared. And now in this camp, it's been pretty quiet. A sack at FanFest was a nice reminder of what he's capable of, but one flash isn't enough. Coaches want consistency. They want effort every snap. They want to see that a guy is progressing year over year. Right now, Booker's in that weird in-between zone. Not quite a starter, not quite a bust. These next few practices might just decide where he fits in that edge rotation, and whether he's a developmental piece or someone they actually lean on come week one. And finally, we've got to talk about Jaquan Brisker Furana, because we're trying to figure out if he's good. We know he's good, but this is about confidence. This is about rhythm. Brisker missed the last dozen games last season with a concussion, and while he says he's ready to go, this will be his first real physical challenge since going down. The Bears need him flying around the field, being that emotional enforcer in the secondary. And for Brisker himself, he needs to get through this practice knowing he can take a hit, deliver one, and come out clean. That's how you get your swagger back. That's how you start a comeback season the right way. So yeah, there's a lot riding on this Friday. We'll get our first look at how the Bears stack up against real competition. We'll get answers to some position battles. We might even see a few names break out of nowhere. One thing's for sure, these joint practices might not show up in the box score, but they're going to tell us everything we need to know about who's ready for the lights and who needs more time in the shadows. And if there's one thing we've learned about this Bears team under the current regime, it's that nothing is handed out for free. Whether you're the number one overall pick or a fringe roster guy clawing for a special team spot, you've got to earn it every single day. And these joint practices, they're the perfect proving ground. There's no scripted plays, no choreographed matchups. It's raw, it's intense, and it often reveals what training camp can't. For a lot of these players, this is their audition, not just for a role, but for respect inside that locker room. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL community, rumors are swirling around the Chicago Bears regarding the reported expulsion of cornerback KYLER Gordon by head coach Ben Johnson. Sources suggest that tensions have been simmering behind the scenes, and what appear to be isolated incidents of disagreement may have culminated in this drastic decision. Insiders indicate that Johnson, known for his strict approach to discipline and team culture, may have reached a tipping point following a controversial situation during practice. While no official statement has confirmed the specifics of the expulsion, speculation among fans and analysts is rampant. with many questioning whether Gordon's style of play or personality clashed with Johnson's methodology. Social media has amplified the story, creating a buzz among Chicago sports circles, and many experts are debating the potential consequences of this rumored action. Some believe this could mark a turning point for the Bears' locker room dynamics, while others are suggesting that the team might be preparing for a significant roster shakeup. Even though the Bears organization has remained tight-lipped, the chatter hints at a possible internal power struggle or disagreement over team direction, fueling ongoing curiosity about what really happened behind closed doors. Adding fuel to the speculation, insiders claim that the friction between Ben Johnson and KYLER Gordon had been building over multiple weeks, with subtle signs of discord reportedly visible during practices and team meetings. Observers have noted that Gordon, a young player with a reputation for both talent and outspoken behavior, may have clashed with Johnson's increasingly authoritative leadership style. Some sources hint that the disagreement might not have been purely about on-field performance, but rather about strategic differences, locker room influence, or off-field behavior, though details remain murky. Analysts are now speculating whether this expulsion is part of a broader pattern within the Bears organization, potentially indicating a more aggressive stance toward internal discipline under Johnson. Rumors suggest that teammates might be divided on the issue, with some supporting the coach's decision as a necessary enforcement of team standards, while others reportedly feel that Gordon's dismissal could undermine morale. Fans are taking to forums and social media channels to debate the situation, with speculation intensifying regarding whether this move signals deeper issues in the Bears' management structure. Some insiders even propose that this could be a precursor to further personnel changes, hinting at a potential shakeup aimed at consolidating Johnson's authority while reshaping the team culture around his vision. Amid the swirl of speculation, reports indicate that the fallout from KYLER Gordon's alleged expulsion may extend beyond the Bears' immediate roster implications. Experts are suggesting that NFL executives and rival teams are closely monitoring the situation, assessing how such a high-profile internal conflict might impact perceptions of team stability, player development, and market value, while the Bears have historically maintained a reputation for disciplined coaching. This rumored incident could be interpreted as a signal that Ben Johnson is willing to make dramatic decisions to assert control over his squad. Some insiders are speculating that Gordon could become a sought-after free agent if the expulsion is confirmed, creating a potential ripple effect across the league as teams consider both the talent and the controversy surrounding the young cornerback. Meanwhile, Chicago sports commentators are weighing in with mixed reactions, debating whether this is a calculated long-term strategy or an impulsive reaction that could backfire on the organization. Adding to the intrigue, unnamed sources claim that the expulsion might have been preceded by confidential discussions involving team leadership, hinting at a deliberate orchestration rather than a spontaneous act. If this turns out to be true, it could reshape how coaches and players approach internal disagreements in the NFL, potentially redefining the boundaries of authority and player autonomy. Speculation continues to grow over the potential impact of this rumored expulsion on the Bears' upcoming season, as insiders suggest that team chemistry could face significant challenges in the wake of such a dramatic move. Analysts are theorizing that if KYLER Gordon is officially removed from the roster, the team might have to adjust its defensive strategies, possibly promoting a younger, less experienced player to fill the gap, which could influence game outcomes and long-term planning. Meanwhile, some reports indicate that the locker room may be experiencing heightened tension as players navigate the uncertain dynamics created by the rumored fallout. Rumors even suggest that some team members are quietly aligning with one side or the other, potentially creating factions or influencing future leadership decisions. Pundits are actively debating whether this is part of a broader trend under Ben Johnson's leadership style, with some arguing that such decisive actions may ultimately strengthen discipline, while others warn that it could alienate key talent. As the story unfolds, fans are eagerly watching every press conference, practice report, and insider tip, hoping to uncover the truth behind the whispers. The potential ramifications extend beyond a single player, as analysts speculate on how this decision could influence the Bears' reputation, draft strategy, and overall perception in the league. Finally, the ongoing rumors surrounding Ben Johnson and KYLER Gordon are drawing attention from both national media and devoted Bears supporters, raising questions about the stability of leadership and the balance between authority and player freedom. Sources claim that other NFL teams are taking note, considering how the handling of internal conflict may affect player recruitment, retention, and broader league dynamics. Observers are debating whether this situation is indicative of a new era in coaching philosophy, where discipline and control take precedence over traditional approaches to player development. While confirmation remains elusive, the chatter itself has become a story, feeding speculation about potential trades, contract renegotiations, and even coaching challenges. Some insiders propose that this rumored expulsion could trigger a series of unexpected consequences, including shifts in team hierarchy, adjustments in defensive schemes, or even heightened media scrutiny of Johnson's decision-making style. Fans continue to speculate about Gordon's next move, with social media buzz with predictions ranging from immediate signing by rival teams to a complete hiatus from professional football. Whether these rumors prove accurate or not, the narrative reflects ongoing tension and uncertainty, leaving the Bears fan base and the broader NFL community in suspense over how the situation will ultimately resolve, as speculation, intrigue, and anticipation continue to dominate conversations surrounding the team. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.